So I just completed 1 month of a vegetarian diet, trying to see if it's a more effective way to try to reduce body fat percentage and lose weight. These are my thoughts, and let's get right into them. 1 month has flown by. I started this vegetarian diet just as an alternative to try to see if it's a better way to try to manage body fat percentage and lose a little bit of weight. Not that I have much weight that I want to lose, but I tried to see if over a 1 month span, it was an effective way to drop body fat percentage. Now I want to break this down into some pros and cons, give you guys a better understanding if this is something maybe you should be trying. If you guys are new to the channel, I like to make evidence-based fitness content, where I like to break down the studies, explain to you the science behind reasons you do certain movements, and give you a better understanding on how to do and why you do certain things in the gym. So this is a little bit different because this is more of a case study with myself, taking a look at my personal opinions and my personal views now after trying this for about a month. Now I do have to say that I didn't go about this for ethical purposes. I do understand that, factory farming can be problematic. I want to just stick to the actual effects on the physiology and the body. One of the things I've noticed over the years that the clients that I typically have that are vegetarian tend to be a little bit skinnier and a little bit more fit. Is there any scientific reasoning on why this might be? From a theoretical standpoint, this makes sense. A lot of times, people that have higher fiber diets tend to be satiated and also eat foods that are less calorie dense. An example of this is a plate of broccoli versus steak. These are about equivalent in the amount of calories in each of these foods. So this was my philosophy going into this. I thought I'd be able to eat more fruits and vegetables and feel more satiated, while at that same point cutting total calories out with not having as many meats. Now I want to jump right into these pros and cons and explain to you some of the pros that I really felt. The first few days on this diet, I tracked my calories to see if I was in a calorie deficit. And surprisingly, I ended at negative 300 calories the first day, negative 200 the second day, and I wasn't feeling like I was starving. I think this had to do with the increase of fiber in the diet. One of the other pros is I felt like I was able to build a good regimen. Since I'm not a vegetarian or someone that's really well versed in full-on vegetarian diets, I didn't have like a cookbook, so I went off of kind of a structured diet plan that I was able to adapt to my everyday lifestyle. I had a lot of my protein coming from eggs in the morning, milk, and I added protein shake as basically a supplement to make sure I hit my protein totals. I would say that overall, my diet was definitely healthier in the sense of I consumed less junk food, less fried foods, less foods that had saturated fats, or things like lunch meat, which are highly processed and can be problematic in their own right. So increasing the amount of greens I was consuming is obviously a good solution. But there's definitely some cons, and for most of you, you probably are used to eating a certain diet. That was the biggest change, was understanding what foods I really want to make. Since I wasn't as well versed with vegetarian diets and meals, I kind of had to improvise and I kind of had to learn on the fly, which I guess isn't a horrible way to do it, but it's a lot of trial and error. I was making tacos with like refried beans and stuff like that. So a little experimental to say the least. One of the other biggest cons is that not everyone around me is a vegetarian for that short period of time. Not everyone was participating. So anytime someone makes food around me that had meat in it, I didn't want to consume it, but it smelled so good and I just wanted some. So I will say that's definitely a con. If you're doing this and you have a partner that wants to do it with you, it's gonna make it 100 times easier. Another drawback is that you seem to be eating a little bit more. Since you are eating food that's less calorie dense, to try to get a sufficient amount of calories, you have to kind of eat more throughout the day. So my dinner might be a little bit larger than normal, but I'm still consuming less calories. But with that being said, as far as price per calorie, it seems like it might be a little bit more expensive. Maybe that's just the options I went with. I'm sure if I spent more time doing it, I'd find more efficient vegetarian options. So one of the biggest problems I noticed with this type of diet is that it started out super healthy with, fruit and vegetables and things like that, but it turned and kind of evolved into a carb heavy diet where when I decided that I wanted like a granola bar, which is fine to have here and there, it was a simple thing to grab and go. But when I got to later in the day when I needed to make a meal and I was unsure of what I wanted, I would just grab another granola bar, and it seemed like an easy out in those moments. Now this was definitely a fault of my own, but it's something to be conscious and aware of if you're, grabbing granola bars or simple easy foods to grab on the go, is make sure you don't just simply find that as an easy out when you need to make a meal, because that becomes obviously over dependency on one macronutrient, which we don't want to do. So was I able to use this as a way to reduce body fat percentage? Slightly, although I didn't see a whole lot of change. I think it really comes down to, am I over consuming calories? In the first few weeks, I didn't really over consume at all, and I was able to be in a calorie deficit. But this wasn't a magic solution. It's not just like you don't have to worry about how many calories you're taking in, because you can still overconsume. If you're looking for this to be a solution, it very much can be. I think those who can establish a quality vegetarian lifestyle and can learn the recipes and learn better eating habits will find success with this. One of the other downsides is definitely protein consumption. I noticed that I was definitely lower in my total amount of protein taking in during the week, and I made sure I always got a protein shake in just so I wasn't insufficient with my total protein intake, especially while working out pretty hard. But I didn't notice a drop in strength. I didn't notice a reduction in energy. It can be healthy as long as you're having appropriate diet, just like any other diet plan, and it definitely can be successful if you stick to it. So let me know in the comments if you guys found this useful at all. If you guys are looking for reasons why maybe you're not losing weight, feel free to click this video right here, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.